Here is my course on the four agreements based on the book of written by Don Miguel Ruiz. As you can see in the Canvas page, it is broken down into the four agreements professional development course introduction, followed by agreement number one, being impeccable with your word. Agreement number two, don't take things personally. Agreement number three, don't make assumptions. Agreement four, always do your best. And then the four agreement professional course conclusion. So it's 6 modules for these teachers. So the very first thing that they will see will be the purpose, objectives, and expectations. As I go into this, it kind of describes what it's going to be. The purpose of this 6 month long professional development course using his book is to address the teacher's mental health and well being throughout the school year in both their professional and personal lives. The objective of the course is for them to know what the four agreements are and then how they are entangled and work with one another. And then being able to recognize when they are meeting the agreements and when they are breaking the agreements. So that way they can try to improve and do better. And one of the agreements, doing your best, would be, well, doing their best at recognizing and then doing better. The goal is not to master these agreements, but to improve each day with them. And then I have the expectations of what they will do each month. They will do a pre-reading prompt. So that means before they even read the chapter, what knowledge do they have now? And then they will read the chapter and they will do a response to a post-reading prompt. There are 5 questions to fill in that are fill in the blank type questions for quizzes that are straight out of the book. It's more just make sure that they did the reading. Throughout the entire course, they will keep a journal, which there's going to be more about that real soon, and they will use it as well as the readings and discussions to write a final paper during the last week as they put together what they learned and experienced throughout this course. So that final paper is going to be that summative part. Everything else is going to be the formative. So the next thing is a pre-survey. So if I go into it real quickly, pre-survey is just 6 questions are like, what things are causing people stress? How do they deal with the stresses? So these are essay questions. What does it mean to be impeccable with your word? That's the first agreement. So before they take the course, what do they think that means? Same thing for question number 4. When someone is critical of your job performance, how do you manage to take their feedback, not take it personally? Because a lot of teachers know when they get evaluated, take that really personally. Number 5, why is it important not to make assumptions about a person or an upcoming situation that you will experience in the future? And then 6, what motivates you to perform your best on the days when you feel the worst? So the last 4 are just pretty much questions about the 4 agreements and how they deal with things. Submit quiz. Sure, I didn't answer it, but oh well. Next part, I'm trying to get to the next thing. This is a discussion post practice, since many people haven't probably done discussion post before. So in this main thing, it's just intro is going to be a practice. So just create a list, create a list and a brief description of the 4 agreements that you live or teach by. So create their own, and then respond to at least 2 other people's posts that you find interest or you have questions about. And then this is where they have the instructions to read the 4 agreements. All the teachers have a hard copy of the book, so these are the pages that they have to read. And then this is the 4 agreements journal that's going to be helpful for when they actually write their final paper. So the instructions would be throughout the school year, you need to make a personal journal entry in a Google document to submit during the last session of this professional development. The entries will be based on each of the 4 agreements, record the day, and describe the event where you experienced the following. So number 1 is a time where you were not impeccable with your word and recognize that you made that mistake, and how did you correct it? A time where you either gave or received criticism, and how you or the other person engaged in talking about that feedback and that interaction. How did you guys communicate? And so that criticism was actually productive and you didn't take it personally in the wrong way. Number 3, a situation where you made an assumption about someone or something. Recognize that you had done it and altered your thinking by going to that situation with a blank slate. And then number 4 would be a time where you were not having a good time but managed to persevere by still being able to do your best, what the importance of that is. So then that's the journal that they'll be taking throughout the entire 6 months, because they're going to be meeting once every 6 months on this stuff. Well, once every month for 6 months. And then you have a pre-reading discussion post. So this is in the second module. What does it mean to be impeccable with your word? Respond to at least 2 others. Then they'll do the reading on pages 25 through 46 on that chapter of being impeccable with their word, followed by a quiz that has questions. You can look at it because you have access to it, I hope, by now. And then there's a post-reading discussion post as well. And then they have to do at least 2 people's other responses. And then if this is actually being utilized, there would be a Zoom meeting to just discuss the agreement. And so now, and there would be a date and time that this was set up for all the teachers to be in the Zoom meeting, and then it'd be the instructor's job to use what was put in the pre-reading discussion post and the post-reading discussion post, and being able to facilitate the meeting. You could have the teacher, ask questions or have any interest, disinterest in the chapter, that type of thing be brought up. So this would be kind of more on the fly of what was provided during those discussion prompts by the teachers. And then the next module does the same thing, a pre-reading. Then they would do a pre-reading discussion post followed by a reading, a content quiz, and then a post-reading, and then another time to meet on Zoom to do their work. And then same thing for agreement 3, 4, pre-read, reading, quiz, post-reading, and then a Zoom meeting to discuss. The very last one, I'm thinking about scrapping the final quiz. I'm thinking that, having the journal discussion and then the actual paper is enough for the summative, so that's probably going to get deleted. So then you have the journal discussion in the conclusion. So pretty much based on your journaling, which of the agreements do you think was the easiest to follow? Which one do you think is the hardest to follow? Explain why these 2 are the hardest and easiest to follow, and how did these 2 agreements actually work with each other? And then respond to 2 other people's posts. And then the 4 agreement paper, using the book, the discussions, both the writing prompt discussions and the actual discussions in the Zoom class. And then the journals in a Google document, write about the following: how your preconceived ideas of the 4 agreements evolved throughout the course. How did the journaling process of the 4 agreements you experienced help you recognize the importance of the agreements, and then rank the importance of each of the 4 agreements with justification as why one is more important than the others and why one is less than important than the others. And then they would submit that. And all I have to do for this would be to make sure I have a rubric, so that way I grade these adequately and fairly. And that would be my course.